Staring at herself in the mirror on the restroom door. Voices in her head that mirror what she's heard before.
Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima. I'm just stopping in for a quick pick a crystal to select your card so that you can receive your message from the universe for this Libra new moon. We do have a lot taking place for this Libra new moon with Pluto going direct on the same day on the 6th of October. So I am here to provide you with your universal needs and give you a message from the universe on the overall energy of the atmosphere that you're going to be navigating through, the path you'll be crossing, how to work your light as you navigate through the path, and just really receive some feedback from the universe in terms of what is the overall guidance for you as you navigate through the climates of this Libra new moon. And we'll also have a sneak peek at the outcome if you stay tuned all the way to the end. Now, because this is going to be a pick a crystal reading, there will be timestamps below for each of the different crystals. So if you guys haven't already done so, definitely be sure to pause the video, select your crystal. I'll get something plugged in for you here. Crystal number 1 is the Amethyst crystal. Crystal number 2 is the Rose Quartz crystal. And crystal number 3 is the Sodalite crystal. So select your crystal and stay tuned for your readings. Now, before we get into all of this awesomeness that is the Libra New Moon guidance, guys, definitely be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If it resonates with you and you like my vibe, then be sure to join the tribe. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you can be kept in the know of when I do upload these awesome videos for you guys. And be sure to comment down below and let me know how you've been able to utilize the info that I provided to you in this guidance, guys, because that's what I'm here for. That's what you're here for, and that's why we're doing this after all. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and have a look and see what your overall message is from the universe. See you on the other side. Right, my loves. So the overall message from the universe for the collective is that we are internalizing a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. It feels as though our peace has been disturbed. So we had this card in reverse from the universe. When I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. So you're not at peace with the way that things are moving at the minute. Us as a collective, let's not just put this on your plate. Us as a collective aren't necessarily at peace with the way that things are actually unfolding at the minute, which is why a lot of us are having these outer body experiences where we're taken out of our character, where we're constantly being shifted and pulled by the tides as they move. So what the universe wants us to know as a collective is that our peace is being disturbed and disrupted because we're not in oneness with the process, because we are out of alignment. So God is creating and we're focused on what it is that we want to create. But it's a co-creation. It's a team effort, if you will. And one requires the other to be able to make both come together. Even the devil has to move when God says. So it's one of those things where we just have to learn how to be a little bit more patient with the process of the unfolding, because there's a lot of disorganization that's taking place right now, and God is helping us to really be able to put certain things into alignment for these timelines. So we want certain things and we're skipping so many stages. We just want to get to the end goal, but there's a lot of stuff that has to take place in between where we are and where we're trying to get to. And there's a lot of alignment of the right people, a lot of alignment of the right situations, a lot of alignment of the right circumstances. There's a lot of decisions that we have to make to be able to align with those timelines. And although the stormier parts of the journey may be behind us, yes, because for a lot of us who've been on the awakening journey for quite some time, we have adapted to the climate of reality and how it appears to be, and our perspectives changing and shifting and evolving with the times as they move and shift, right? But though that's the case, there's still a lot of confusion, there's still a lot of indecision. Even though we know what we want, sometimes we fall back in our old ways of doing things, or we go back into our comfort zone because that's what we've known, and we're still navigating through, it seems, a lot of us are learning how to be open to receiving the things that we say that we want, essentially. And we're learning how to be open to it coming to us by the best means necessary. It's not just by any means necessary. God doesn't do an half-assed job, to be quite frank with you guys. So all of that awesomeness out of the way for the collective, let's dive into it and kick off the reading with crystal number 1, which is the Amethyst crystal. Now, I always give you guys a little bit of a reading on what I'm picking up from the crystal. So naturally, whoever's chosen the Amethyst crystal, you're going through a spiritual rejuvenation at the minute. Your crown chakra, you've been receiving a lot of downloads, especially since the Pisces full moon. There's been a lot of subconscious programming that has been updated, and you're in a place now where you are able to foresee your spiritual recovery, but you also know at the same time that there's a lot that you're navigating through at the minute. I can feel quite a bit of angst for those of you guys who would have chosen the Amethyst crystal. So there may be some doubt that you're navigating through, so we might need to charge up the self-belief for this Libra new moon. That would help to balance the actual I guess levels of our doubt at the minute. So doubt is basically on high scales at the minute, whereas self-belief is wavering here, if you will. So we need to up the self-belief so that it can balance out the self-doubt, so that we can find ourselves in a much better position moving beyond the Libra new moon. So definitely set your intentions for self-belief, and know that if you set your intention on self-belief, God is going to give it to you tenfold. The universe is going to give it to you in abundance. So there will be situations that shows up to test how much you believe in yourself. How strong are you with your decision-making process? How assertive can you be in making your decision? Do you trust that the decisions that you're making are actually the right decisions for yourself? Because these are some of the things that will affect a person's confidence in their ability to believe in themselves. Okay, so we're going to start off here for you guys. Let's make some room and get all these cards together for you guys so that we can really dive into what's unfolding for us as a collective for this Libra new moon. I'm sure it shall be epic, because there's so much taking place, guys. We've got so much going on this week in general. I'm sure that this Libra new moon is needed to be able to help us to balance a lot of what's to come. So for you guys, it seems as though the overall energy of the atmosphere that you're navigating through is sacral chakra activation. So what I'm seeing is that you've really built your strength, you've really built your confidence in the past, and you've really been working on taming some of your own inner demons, some of your own inner dark forces, for lack of a better way of putting it, right? And you're at a place now where your sacral chakra is ready to be able to start creating things. You're ready to start to turn things a little bit more in your favor. What I can see is that there's a lot of caring connections that may not have been going your way. So there may have been situations in your romantic partnerships, maybe friendship or family dynamics that hasn't necessarily been going your way, and you're focusing your energy at the minute, or at the very least, the atmosphere around you is identifying that that's where you need to focus your energy, on your sacral chakra. You might want to be able to create a new circumstance or a change in these connections that you have with people, but at the same time, it requires you to be patient. It requires you to be understanding, compassionate. It requires you to be able to express your love, and not just in the way that you know how to give love, but also in the way that you can identify that these connections receive love. So what is their love language? How can they be receptive to the way in which you are communicating your love, so that they can actually feel that, so that it can permeate their orbit, so that they could really bask in it and sink in it. So those are some of the things that you're really having to, I guess you're going to receive a lot of downloads on that, but you have to be open to be able to receive it. You have to not let the frustrations of maybe some of the combative energies that you're navigating through in these connections pretty much be like a resistant cap to you not being able to receive the downloads as they flow through. So you just have to keep yourself open. When something doesn't necessarily work, ask questions, ask the universe, ask your guides. Just put a question out there and you'll be surprised to see how quick the answer to that question is actually, returned to you. Okay? Ask and it shall be received. Ask and you shall find. Okay? As far as the actual path that you're actually crossing for this Libra new moon, my love. So the Libra new moon is essentially all about creating balance within our romantic partnerships, our business relationships, as well as our friendships. And it seems as though you are pretty much restricted in certain communications, which is probably why you're a little bit concerned about some of these connections. So there may be somebody who's withholding contact or communication, or you may be the one withholding contact or communication from someone, but on the inside you're actually very chatty. There's a lot of mind chatter that's taking place. There's a lot of emotional clouds that's taking place on your heart center because of these disruptions in these connections at the minute. So just because you're not focusing on it doesn't mean it's not infecting you, doesn't mean it's not affecting the way in which you're actually navigating through some of your other relationships at the minute. So what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of scattered energy because of this resistance that you're experiencing. There's a lot of scattered energy because somebody may have been too quick, I guess, in either cutting off communication, or somebody may have been too quick in reacting to something very, very quickly, and it's caused a disruption in the relationship, or the flow of the relationship is now going into a different course. It's being taken through a detour is what I'm hearing. So the path that you're crossing during this Libra New Moon is essentially learning how to navigate through these restrictions, learning how to sit and be still and be patient, and also identify from the noise chatter, okay, what are some of the things that you're still navigating through as far as your own personal wounds from that relationship. That way, when the universe gives you an opportunity, when the stars have aligned again and things does come back together, at least you guys can have a conversation to be able to clearly articulate perhaps re-observing some boundaries in those relationship dynamics. Okay, the overall guidance for you on how to work your light as you navigate through these energies, my love, is to know that you're birthing a new age into being, and you don't have to dim to fit in. Whatever happened was supposed to happen. It may not feel that way right now, but it was supposed to happen. The way in which it happened is why it needed to happen in that way, for the unfolding process to continue to teach us all something about ourselves. So identify where you can take accountability for the way that you have basically played a part in the demise of the disconnect in the relationship. Also, be very clear in articulating what it is. You can't just say to a person, oh, you made me feel low. Well, what is it that I said that made you feel low? Because then they need to understand a little bit more about where you are with your self-esteem and what may be some of your own personal triggers, and where they're able to kind of I guess compensate for you feeling fragile in that area as you're doing your work on yourself at this particular time of the journey. The ancestors are definitely beside you, so call upon them, call upon your angels, call upon your guides as you're navigating through the process. And just remember that you don't have to make yourself feel small in order to be able to fit the mold. You can actually be big, bold, and beautiful and inspire others to do exactly the same. So if it's a case of you feeling as though you can't properly articulate yourself in that situation, that's something that you need to look at. Where did you lose your voice? What age of your timeline during your childhood taught you that your voice isn't capable of creating changes in your situational circumstances, to the point where you have now misrepresented yourself, where you're not able to communicate, where you're not able to articulate, where you're not able to speak up and speak out. You may need to go back and readdress that timeline of maybe a 6-year-old self, or a 3-year-old self, or a 5-year-old self, wherever you are on that timeline scale. It's about really being able to upgrade that programming as well, to be able to bring balance to your adult experiences, so that you don't have to continue to dim yourself to make other people feel comfortable. Okay, you guys can grow together, and you need to identify how you're actually dimming yourself. So whenever you feel tension in your body, that is you dimming yourself. That is you going smaller. That is you tightening. It's you regressing essentially into an old programming, which is a few things you need to do in that moment. Identify the trigger and identify what you can do as an alternative to be able to resolve the situation moving forward, because you're no longer having those experiences. It may feel very similar as it puts you into your fight or flight response, but if you can choose a different narrative on the situation, it may actually play out differently. Okay, the overall message for you from the universe as you navigate through this Libra New Moon is, when you lean on faith of the universe, peace becomes real. And I already had mentioned that to you guys. We're not moving faithfully into these timelines that we want to manifest, where we're constantly observing the fate that we have created. So the karmic challenges that we have created from past situations, past dynamics, past relationships, we're constantly focusing on those and creating more of those, whereas faith in God, the universe, ourselves can override that, which is why your guidance is to work on self-belief. We've already discussed this. There's a stream of love supporting your dreams. What you need to do is believe in that stream. Believe that it is going to continue to flow you directly into your dream. And as your dream continues to grow and evolve, the bigger it gets, the wider the stream will be able to become to accommodate that dream, so that you can continue to flow in that direction. There's one thing that you're not necessarily doing at the minute, is forgetting what you think that you need. So you're constantly focused on what you need to be able to achieve the things that you want, and everything that you need is actually right there. It's just that there are things that you would want ideally to be able to make those things work, because it feels as though it would be easier. But in actual fact, everything you need is before you. The key to prayer is to forget what you think that you need and be grateful that you already have all of your resources in abundance right at your very foot. It's just a case of being resilient with it. Okay, if you're able to follow the actual guidance and receive the message from the universe for this Libra new moon, the outcome for you, my loves, is interesting, because you're definitely navigating through Knight of Swords energy. So there's definitely going to be some sort of, I guess, restlessness. There's situations involving third-party situations in the home. So there may be outside parties outside of your home, or there might be outside parties in romantic relationships where there's a third-party situation. Either way, it seems like there's a stifled creativity that's taking place. So there is some repressed energy within the home dynamics that is going to start to balance out. But it is going to take very particular communication. Okay, it's going to take being very tactful in the way that you're communicating around these third-party situations for you to be able to get the outcome of a stable, balanced home environment. Okay, right, guys. So that is for those of you who have chosen crystal number 1. I hope that that was useful for you guys. Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know how you've been able to effectively utilize the info from that guidance, guys, so that I in the know of how this is actually resonating with you guys. And we're going to move on to crystal number 2, which is the rose quartz crystal. So interestingly enough, when I pulled cards with this one, again, I don't know what's underneath the decks for these, but the rose quartz was really speaking about heart-centered healing. It was really speaking about going into the depths of your heart and falling into it, letting yourself fall apart so that the unraveling can take place, so that the unfolding can become clear. So for those of you who've chosen the rose quartz crystal, I am deeply, sincerely sorry to you, my love, for whatever it is that you are in recovery from, whatever that your heart is navigating through, overcoming at the minute. Just take your time to pour some love back into yourself. This is a time for self-love, and self-love doesn't mean being selfish. It means being self-full. Okay, identifying how to accurately compromise with your desires versus fulfilling the desire of someone else as well, because God may be utilizing you as well as an earth angel. Let's not forget. So you still have duties as a purposeful being, created with an intention. So it's about really identifying whether or not you've got enough in the cup to be able to fulfill purpose. And if you don't, that's okay too. Guess what? The best thing about the job is you've got a boss who is constantly on hand to help you get the job done. So ask God for whatever it is that you need to be able to deliver whatever it is that he needs you to deliver to his, his children, essentially. Okay, my loves? We're going to go ahead and get straight into it for you guys, because your reading, interestingly, as much as you're sort of peeling back the layers and going through a lot of heart-centered healing, your cards are very straightforward. So the path, I guess the energy, that you're actually navigating through for this Libra new moon, the atmosphere of the energy is the garden and the gate. And again, this is all about healing. You're going into a quarters of your healing. You're going into a place of no longer being in the cocooning experience of it. So that would have been the surgical process of becoming the butterfly. Now you get to be the butterfly, and you're going to be able to soar above the skies and smell the fresh air of this new garden, smell the life that is so exhilarating as you're navigating through this garden, and you'll be able to identify your gates as effective boundaries that are necessary to keep your garden in check, to keep your garden pruned, to keep your garden nurtured. It's really about observing the seeds that you're planting, and some of the seeds that have been planted in your heart center, and how those are actually being nurtured by yourself. You are going through this healing, you are going through this next phase of your evolution, and it is bringing you closer to a level of love with and for yourself unlike you've ever experienced before, is what I'm hearing. There'll be a genuine admiration to and for yourself once you're able to get past the next, I want to say 6 to 7 months from now, because that's what I'm hearing, my loves. Okay? The path that you're actually crossing is really, again, we have some issues with being able to ground yourself. There has been a lack of confidence, a lack of faith that you're able to make the right decisions for yourself in terms of monetary gain. So you're struggling with how you're viewing yourself in terms of finances. And it's because of some of the decisions that you've made in the past that hasn't necessarily been from the best vibration. It's taken place from a place of poverty consciousness. So it's kind of brought you in a position where you're feeling as though you regret some of the decisions that you made, but at the same time, you know that you're actually doing better. You know that you're actually doing a lot more grounding work to be able to ensure that you're showing up in the very best way that is true to who you are. You're tapping into your warmth, you're tapping into your generosity, you're tapping into your natural kindness. You're really showing these different aspects of your personality, and it's teaching you that even though you're not all the way comfortable and you're not all the way sure about what it is that you're doing, and you're not all the way you're not always pleased basically with the outcome, there's this assurance that you know who you are deep down at a heart level. And even though your kindness may be taken for weakness, as they say, or your kindness may be misused and abused, you're not in a position to change who you are, even though it may have molded the way in which you express and articulate that, i.e. the types of people you give that to, what energy you're giving out there to the right people. And not so much to say that there is the wrong people out there, but sometimes we're giving 80% to a situation that's only giving 20 to 30% back, and that overexerts our energy, that drains us. So you're finding the balance in terms of how you actually give that warmth, where to give it, when to give it, how to be receptive to the energy as well. Because one thing, when you're a giver, you're constantly in the mode of giving, and it's very difficult to be in the position to be able to receive sometimes. So for you, it seems, my loves, that you are in a position where you're really sitting in the grace of your warmth, the grace of your ability to be down to earth. And even though you're not all the way confident in some of the choices that you've made, you're still who you are. And the path that you're navigating through for this Libra New Moon shall continue to remind you of that. You're very special and unique for the qualities that your heart possesses. Don't forget that. Okay? The guidance for you guys on how to work your light is to tune into your inner temple. Your inner temple being your heart center. It's about devoting yourself to tuning into that portal. When you tune into your heart, what songs do you hear in there? What's the feedback? What tracks are playing? What is the overall guidance that your heart is giving you? Because your mind will say one thing. The mind is constantly being stimulated by fear, whereas the heart is constantly being moved by love. So it is important for you to tune into your heart portal as you navigate through maybe some of the psychological traumas of this low confidence that you're navigating through at the minute. Your heart will be able to lead you in the right direction, is what I'm hearing. Your heart isn't going to lead you astray. And if you can trust that your heart and who you are is the way that it was written for you to be, you'll actually find that the things that you are observing as weaknesses can become your strength. And it's not so much solely that other people have misused and abused your love and kindness and generosity. It's that you, my love, hadn't necessarily figured out exactly how to utilize that gift, that very special power that has been given to you by the divine. And now you're in the process of being able to give that in a way where you are learning to be confident in the value of it. Okay, the message for the universe as you're navigating through all of this awesomeness for this Libra New Moon is when you accept the love of the universe as your primary teacher, you'll always be guided back to the light within yourself, to the light that you can observe in others, to the light that you can observe in this amazingly beautiful paradise that we experience every single waking moment that we have here. The issue that you might struggle with is choosing to learn through love, because sometimes love, God, it is such an amazing artistry. It can paint so many pictures, it can endure so much, and sometimes love is so big and we don't necessarily always know how to be able to how to live in a love that's big in certain ways, how to live in a love that's grand in certain ways. And sometimes it can be painful. Sometimes it can feel like a heart attack because your heart has been fragmented and fractured by the experience of all that your love can endure for others. And because of some of the hurt that you have experienced, you have gotten to a place where maybe you're questioning whether or not it's okay to be the vibration of love anymore, because the darkness is fighting to overtake your light at the minute. But my love, the universe wants you to know that if you accept all of these experiences that has caused the darkness in your heart to be activated, if you learn from these experiences, the way in which your light will be magnified and expanded is like nothing else that you will ever experience. And in this lifetime, you will truly be able to experience love beyond the magnitude of fear, is what I'm hearing, provided that you're open to receiving your lessons, guided by love. Okay, my loves? So the final, outcome for you guys, provided that you guys are able to tune into your heart temple and, continue to look at the situations that you navigate through the lens of love, and utilize the universe as your primary teacher, teaching you how to get more and more into acceptance of the vibration of love. It is going to be challenging. It is going to be overwhelming. It is going to be very toilsome. You are going to feel at times as though you're overworked, and you may even at times feel as though you might want to give up, like it's too much, but you'll keep going. You will persevere. You will overcome. This will be your testimony. This is simply something that is taking you into your spiritual victory. And in order for you to overcome this spiritual battle that you're navigating through within your heart center at the minute, you have to be willing to fight for yourself, my love. And you have to be willing to accept that the greatest fight that you'll ever have in this lifetime is the battle with yourself. Okay, you have to fight for your light, but also equally you have to be able to negotiate with your darkness, because these are the wounded parts of yourself, the most fragile parts of yourself that is calling out for something. And it is up to you to be able to give to yourself that which you seek from others. Okay, my love, that approval, that gratification, that validation, that acceptance, all of these things you have to first give to yourself, so that the universe can give that back to you in abundance through others as their experience of you shifts and changes and evolves. Okay, my love, so that is your reading, your guidance for those of you who have chosen crystal number 2, which is the rose quartz crystal. Now we're going to go and get into the nitty gritty, the final card, guys, for those of you guys who have chosen crystal number 3. Now, crystal number 3 is the Sodalite crystal. Great for the throat chakra, but it's also already letting me know that there may be an imbalance at the minute. So we may be navigating through low self-esteem. We may be navigating through, you know, in most cases where we've got low self-esteem, you usually find low self-worth as well, not necessarily knowing the value of ourselves. Maybe there are some core beliefs that needs to be updated. But the Sodalite crystal is letting me know that you're actually going through some throat chakra activation that is going to help you to get a little bit more honest with yourself, get a little bit more transparent with yourself, get a little bit more comfortable in the flexibility of your authenticity. And you don't necessarily have to be one way to be able to be accepted. You can actually be a multitude of and variation of selves and still be accepted, and know that that's actually perfectly fine and good enough as it is. So for you guys, I'm seeing that, I guess, this Libra new moon is going to challenge you to activate your truth speaker, your truth seeker within yourself for this Libra new moon. Okay, on that note, we're going to go and dive into it and see what is the unfolding for you guys for this wonderful Libra new moon, my loves. Stay right there. Right, my loves, so let's get into the reading for crystal number 3, which is the Sodalite crystal. Let's have a look at the overall energy in the atmosphere as you're navigating through the energies of this Libra new moon. So the atmosphere is all about strategizing for you guys. Okay, we've got strategy and sixth chakra. So we've got Archangel Metatron. So your energy overall is working, I guess, with your third eye throughout this Libra new moon. You're going to get a lot of downloads about strategizing and how to be able to put things into place and how to be able to connect the intricate detailing of extending your timeline. It's like when we buy time with a situation, when we're biding time, we're actually kind of putting the process of time experiencing itself through us, through the circumstances that we sort of find ourselves in based on the decisions that we make, of course. But your overall energy, it seems, is that you're strategizing on the day-to-day stuff. You're also maybe even going deeper on the week-to-week stuff, maybe the month-to-month stuff. You're getting a little bit more symmetry in places where there may have been chaos, which is nice. It does mean that Archangel Metatron is going to be very, very important as you're navigating through the energies of this Libra new moon. So it's important for you to work closely with Archangel Metatron to be able to allow for things to come into perspective, okay? What I would say when I see the sixth chakra come into play during a new moon process, it's definitely going to be important. You're going to have to utilize, as you see and envisage the things that Archangel Metatron is trying to show you about the path that you're on. It's important to speak up. It's important to be able to articulate where you're going with this path, which means that boundaries may potentially be a necessary aspect of the process of navigating this path that you're on with the Libra new moon, my loves. Okay, so looking at the actual, okay, you guys have got one card, so there isn't really much happening, but there's a lot to take place with this Five of Cups energy. So this is the actual path that you're on. You're in the Five of Cups energy, which means that you're navigating through some of your sadness, some of your resentments. There's a lot of forgiveness to take place in the process of this Libra new moon. So this helps you to balance the way that you're strategizing. There are things that you want to maybe, there are areas in your relationships or situations that you want to invest your time into, but you have made some poor decisions and you have certain regrets about the way that you've handled things or the way that you were handled in situations, and it's left you in a place where you are too heavy for where you are being taken to. Archangel Metatron is asking you to lighten your load with forgiveness, and he will be able to show you the path that is possible should you accept this challenge, my loves. So with you being in a Five of Cups energy, it's all about emotional changes for you. It's all about an emotional shift that is taking place for you with this Libra new moon, and it's giving you an opportunity to be able to strategize. Perhaps those are some of the things that you are strategizing over during this Libra new moon, and it's giving you an opportunity to then in turn be able to see the path a little bit clearer, because you're managing and maintaining your emotions in a healthier manner. Now, the overall guidance on how to work your light for this Libra new moon is to know that you're ready. Internally, you're not confident in that just yet. You're not secure in that just yet. You're not all the way stable in that just yet, where the readiness of everything that you've been training for is showing up externally. This card revealed itself to me in an introspective manner. So you're still navigating through the process of feeling like you're ready for the path that you're on, but you are a pillar of light and your vibration is rising. You are the oracle, essentially, okay? You are a beautiful divine being that is having this human experience whereby you're able to tap into so many channels and frequencies of thoughts and emotions and really dive into the experiences connected to these emotions. And as you do so, and you shed the layers of the density attached to the design of your low vibrational fields, you'll actually be able to elevate your consciousness in the process. And you'll get to that place where you are absolutely secure in the fact that you know what you're doing, because you're already doing it, my loves. So it's really more or less a case of you being able to accept that you've already accepted the challenge. You're absolutely here. You are living, you are being, you are experiencing. So the message from the universe for you, my loves, is energy flows where my intention goes. Be mindful of where you're putting your focus. Be mindful of the things that you are allowing to disrupt the flow of your third eye. A lot of the times when we're not able to see God's vision over our life, it is because we are resistant to the possibility that change can happen. And a lot of the times when we struggle to forgive people, it's more of a reflection on how we handle ourselves, on how hard and how critical we can be on ourselves sometimes. But also, a lot of the times we're waiting for them to give us permission to forgive them by changing. And you can decide to give yourself permission to forgive whomever has disrupted your peace, whomever has unfortunately partaken in you allowing them to be in a position to disrupt your peace. And if you allow for your energy to flow in the natural design of your intentions, you might find that the change that you seek is within yourself. And the way in which you're able to present yourself may conjure a different experience, if you will. Okay, the actual outcome for you guys is saying a lot. We've got 3 cards here for you. So every single card is in reverse, which lets me know that you're going through a lot of introspection during this Libra new moon. The outcome of this Libra new moon is that you'll be internalizing your King of Wands energy. So your ability to dictate your leadership qualities, that's something that you may find to be a struggle. And again, if we're talking about throat chakra activation, that's not a bad position to be in, okay? It looks bad because we're observing what the journey may hold, okay? But in all reality of the situation, this is exactly where you need to be able to utilize the energies of this Libra new moon in the way that you need to. So with you learning your leadership skills, right guys, so though your leadership qualities are under reevaluation, this hopelessness that you may be feeling as you're navigating through the Libra new moon is down to the confusion that you feel. And the confusion that you feel is manifesting as indecision. So this is pretty much universal math at this point. So with you struggling to be able to live in conviction of your leadership qualities, it may leave you feeling as though there isn't a renewal that's possible, or you're not capable, or it's really a case of you observing your negative self-talk during the process of this Libra New Moon, because that may be what is causing the chaos in your mind, and it may be the thing that is prohibiting your inability to take action. What you want to do with a situation like this, obviously because you're navigating through the heaviness on your heart of some of the regrets, the sorrows you're still carrying, the burdens of some of the experiences that you are still disappointed by. Because you're still navigating through those things at the minute, it's natural for you to find yourself in emotional depths of hopelessness. It's more a case of you sitting within that in observation and understanding where the regrets lie and why. And once you have the answers to those questions, you can then decide, what can I do differently to create a new narrative with this situation? How can I make better decisions? How can I make decisions that are more reflective of me being able to shift the experiences that I'm having at the minute? No, I don't necessarily feel like I'm ready to overcome just yet, but it is because I'm living in that belief that who I am isn't good enough. Who I am isn't worthy of purpose. Who I am isn't capable of living out the potential of God's desires that has already been written on our hearts. What I would say to you is, get to really know yourself. Get to really know the way that you tell your stories, the way that you are able to observe your transition, because that's essentially what's taking place at the minute. You're going through a transition of elevating your self-esteem. And with being able to do that, it requires you being able to be absolutely sure about the things that you have to say, and knowing that you have a right to speak up, and knowing that your voice matters, and knowing that what you have to say can create a change in your situation and circumstances. Okay, my loves? On that note, I'm going to love you guys and leave it there for you guys. I hope this has been useful for you guys in whatever way possible. If you guys did sort of resonate with the information that I've been able to provide to you guys, definitely be sure to comment down below. Let me know how you found the information, whether or not the crystal of your choice initially actually reflected with you, or if you managed to catch one of the other crystals, which again will be in the timestamp below, guys. One of the other readings for one of maybe the other crystals, and that also resonated with you. In what way? Just let me know how things are actually playing out for you during this Libra New Moon, or maybe where you are going into the Libra New Moon and what the guidance or message is conveying to you personally. I'd love to get some insights on that. I'm generally quite interested. I always like to know what's going on in people's worlds. It's always interesting to know, you know, what's going on behind the veil of the eyes sometimes, because we all wear a mask just to be able to get by sometimes, to survive, and sometimes just because we feel like it. So being able to connect with you guys and understand a little bit more about what's going on in your own personal experiences of this epic evolution that is taking place for mankind, I'd love to know more. Okay, my loves, on that note, I'm definitely gonna love you guys and leave it there for you guys. Be sure to join the tribe and subscribe, guys, if you like my vibe. I'd love to have you be a part of the ever unfolding journey that is this experience. And be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you can be kept in the know of when I do upload these awesome videos for you, my loves. Okay, on that note, awesome folks, I will see you guys in the next video. As per usual, namaste, God bless, and take care. Mwah. Ta-ra, guys.
They said to hold her back, they never seem to leave her head, and tend to keep her mind at war. All the things they said to hold